To win a big check, a teacher decides to do whatever is necessary with her students to become the best teacher. But to understand how she got here, let's see what happened before. This story begins with a girl named Elizabeth, who is a teacher and is at her farewell with her colleagues, as she is about to marry a rich man and will leave her job to enjoy the fortune of her beloved. Then, with sarcasm, she tells them it was a pleasure working with them, but soon we see her happily leaving the school behind. Later, Elizabeth arrives with her fiancé, where she realizes that he is with his mother, and they let her know that she has been spending the guy's money in heaps. Due to this, they end up cancelling the wedding, as the guy realizes that she actually wants him only for his fortune, an event that starts the story, since Elizabeth is left without her great dream of being a millionaire. The second act begins 3 months later, where Elizabeth has to return to her previous job as a teacher, so she knows she has to go back to her strange colleagues. At this moment, she comes across another teacher named Amy, who is happy that she's back, though Elizabeth doesn't even remember her. Then, Elizabeth goes to eat with another teacher just because she will pay, where she tells her that she will save money for surgery to have a great personalidad, since she wants to find another rich guy to pay her bills, and the competition with others who think they are Barbies is very tough. Then comes Amy's meeting, which Elizabeth decides to skip, so she just goes to her class, where, being so sleep deprived, she puts on movies for the students to watch while she takes a little nap for a while. Then, at breakfast time, Elizabeth realizes that the school coach is trying to win her over, but she quickly rejects him, letting him know that he is not her type as she has her sights set on the wealthy. Moreover, Amy arrives to remind her that she did not attend the meeting, in addition to knowing that she played movies for the kids on their first day, but Elizabeth just ignores her and tells her to back off or they will have problems between them. Then, while going back to the classroom, she notices the new substitute teacher, named Scott, arriving dressed very elegantly, so when she talks to him, she realizes he comes from a wealthy family, which makes her start getting closer to him. Elizabeth asks him if he has a girlfriend and finds out he doesn't, although Scott does let her know that he recently broke up with his partner. He also shows her a photo of her, which leads Elizabeth to face her first big problem, as she notices that the ex has an ample bosom that she wants but cannot afford. Afterwards, Elizabeth goes to the clinic, where the doctor shows her that he is an expert in that type of operation, so Elizabeth wants to go through with it, although she realizes she needs 10,000 and does not have a good relationship with credits. Due to that, upon returning home, she starts calling friends, family, and even her former fiancé to ask them for her surgery, but she gets nothing. She also tries with her roommate, who also needs money, so her options are running out. The next day, Elizabeth continues with her classes using only movies to entertain the kids, where at the end of the class, she notices that the shy one in the room wants to talk to the conceited one, but he doesn't dare. At the same time, the class leader tells Elizabeth that the next day will be the school's car wash to raise funds, where she learns that they made a lot last year. So Elizabeth goes to the principal, who seems a bit upset because he heard rumors that she only plays movies in class. However, Elizabeth cleverly changes the subject and pretends to be fascinated with dolphins like him, so she ends up winning him over and convinces him to let her be in charge of the car wash, even though she knows Amy had been doing it for many years. The next day, Elizabeth arrives at the place where she knows exactly how to attract more and more customers, so soon the business begins to thrive, although she unintentionally causes 1 or 2 accidents with distracted men. At the same time, Scott arrives in his big car, where Elizabeth takes the opportunity to try to get his attention and invites him to go out at night, but he tells her that he is not ready for another relationship yet, so he asks her to give him time. In the afternoon, Elizabeth counts the earnings to see how much he will keep, but she has to face her second big problem, as Amy realizes that Elizabeth is very interested in money and starts to suspect her. The next day, Amy waits for the principal to come out of the bathroom, but since he's taking too long, she goes in to tell him what she saw and that she suspects Elizabeth is siphoning funds for herself. Meanwhile, the principal, annoyed by the interruption, tells her that without evidence he can't do anything, and he also heard from those who went to the car wash that they want that event to happen more often. Part 2. Amy thinks it's wrong that it's only about watching Elizabeth watching the cars, but the director, tired of her, asks her to leave since she is only interrupting his moment of peace. Later, Elizabeth has to face her third big problem, which is that she realizes Amy is getting along much better with Scott. Then, Elizabeth has a meeting with the parents who are concerned about her teaching methods, but she evades the situation and always knows how to lie. At the same time, she notices that some parents want her to alter their children's grades, so she realizes she can make money from it and starts convincing others to gain more profits. Later, Elizabeth is smoking and is caught by the class leader, but she easily evades her by saying they are medicinal. At night, there's a party at the school where the coach tries to convince her to chat alone for a while, but she avoids him as she is more interested in being with Scott. Then, Scott invites Elizabeth to talk alone, so she thinks she has finally succeeded, while the guy tells her that he is falling in love, but it's actually with Amy. So Elizabeth, not knowing what to do, just tries to discredit Amy by saying she is interested in his money. Then, Elizabeth goes to give the trainer a hard time, where she even convinces the other teacher to try a bit, but she just gets scared and leaves. Meanwhile, the trainer and Elizabeth start to get to know each other better, so we notice that they begin to get along better. Days pass, and the Christmas holidays arrive, during which Elizabeth is left without a lighter and cannot figure out a way to light the devil's feet, not to mention that the stores are closed for the festivities. At that moment, the shy classmate's family invites her to celebrate Christmas at their house, so she has the best time there, where she sees a dolphin statue and pockets it to give to the principal. The days go by, and they return to classes, and Elizabeth is invited to an event where some teachers will sing. She declines at first, but when she learns that Scott will be part of the band, she quickly changes her mind. At night, the teachers gather where Scott wants to dedicate a song to someone, but Elizabeth realizes he meant Amy, while she notices it's because she has a lot more personality. Due to this, Elizabeth leaves the event, and on the way tells the other teacher that she would like to have enough money for her surgery, as she is missing almost half, while she learns that there is a very good bonus for the best teacher, so she sets her goal to win that prize. Because of this, in the following days, she spends her time changing her strategy, so she starts improving in every aspect and focuses on making the students learn everything, even in sports classes where the coach helps her a bit. Then, Scott realizes that Elizabeth is putting in a lot of effort, so he starts to pay attention to her, while Amy notices this and notes she must do something. So, she starts investigating among her students and soon finds out many things, like the class leader saw her burning the devil's feet, so Amy goes to the principal and tells him this, but the man says Elizabeth is a very good person and does not believe in those things, as she often gifts him little dolphin figurines. Furthermore, he believes that Amy is about to have an episode like a few years ago, so he asks her to behave and stop discrediting the great teacher that Elizabeth is. On the other hand, Elizabeth, when evaluating the students' progress, realizes they have not improved as much as she expected, so to win that prize, she has to take extreme measures and gets an appointment with the person in charge of the upcoming exams, where she even uses a wig as a disguise. So, she convinces him to go to her office to do the unspeakable with him, but once there, she puts a sedative in his glass and leaves him asleep. So she searches around his office and soon finds the solved exams. Days pass and they have a teachers' meeting, where Amy is worried because a wig was stolen from the dressing rooms, but no one seems to care, while the principal tells everyone that the exam results have arrived and they were the highest in the area. Moreover, the principal prepares the check for the teacher who made this possible, where Amy gets ready as she is sure it's her, but soon realizes that in fact Elizabeth is the winner, which leaves many impressed. Then, many congratulate Elizabeth, but Amy does so sarcastically, also pointing out that she and Scott will be chaperones for the kids' trip, while mentioning to everyone that she doesn't have a partner. Later, Elizabeth goes to the clinic where she leaves her savings and a check to schedule her appointment. Then, she secretly goes to the desk, from Amy, where she takes the opportunity to leave a little gift in an apple, so Amy, unknowingly, ends up eating it. Then, they make Elizabeth Amy's replacement for the trip, since the latter had a severe allergy, so they set off on their way, while Amy takes advantage of the school being almost empty and convinces the janitor to open Elizabeth's desk, thinking Amy had forgotten the keys. Thanks to this, Amy discovers the wig in a drawer, but worst of all, she also finds the tests that Elizabeth acquired, so she quickly goes to the person in charge of the tests and discovers that she was with her. Because of this, she goes to the principal and convinces him of the truth, as all the evidence is against her, while she, being so much with Scott, soon convinces him to do the unspeakable, but the bad part is she realizes he has very strange ways of doing it. Meanwhile, Elizabeth takes the opportunity to send an audio message to Amy so she can hear what happened. The next day, on the excursion, the shy one gets the courage to confess his feelings to the conceited person in the class, but things don't go very well, as he reveals embarrassing details about his past. Then, the shy one prefers to distance himself from the trip, and Elizabeth soon convinces him to rejoin the others, as she gives him a gift to boost his reputation with his classmates, for which the coach congratulates her, as it was a good move. Days pass, and they return to the institute, where Elizabeth has to face her fourth big problem, since Amy lets her know that she knows the truth, so she warns her that in the meeting they will soon have with everyone involved, she will be blamed and sent to jail. Then, Elizabeth swiftly sends her roommate to deliver an emergency envelope to the person in charge of the exams, where he finds out that she has evidence of everything they did that night. Due to this, in the meeting, the person in charge retracts what he said and denies knowing Elizabeth, so she is soon free of suspicion, although Amy keeps insisting that she is guilty, so she reveals that the guy saw her burning the devil's feet. Due to this, at the peak of tension, the authorities arrive, and with special dogs, they start searching for any evidence in the classrooms, where Amy is anxious for them to find something against Elizabeth, but the dog leads them to her classroom, where they find that Amy is the one using that, so the authorities take her away, and after a few days, she ends up being transferred to a worse school. In the final resolution, we see that Scott, left without a girlfriend, wants to try with Elizabeth, but she, due to the bad experience with him, decides to reject him, as she realizes she should give the coach a chance. This was the summary of Bad Teacher. If you liked the video, please leave a like and comment. Take care. Goodbye.